So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the empty curtain wall. I'm going to attach a couple of segments to that, change a couple of panels within those segments, and then attach mullions to those segments. And then once I've shown you that, we're going to create 3 different types for our building. First is we must select it. So I'm selecting the curtain wall empty. Again, I don't want to make any changes to this actual curtain wall empty, so we must create our own. And to do that, we'll click on Edit Type, Duplicate, and I'll just call it Curtain Wall Test. And press OK. So now that is now our curtain wall that we can do whatever we want to it. So first things first is we will attach our segments, which again are the dashed blue lines. To do that, we're in the Build panel, and there we have Curtain Grid. So select the curtain grid. So when I hover over the vertical side of the curtain wall, I'll get a horizontal segment. When I hover over the horizontal side of the curtain wall, I'll get a vertical segment. So again, we can just click to place. Just putting them in randomly for now. So that there are segments. Again, with the segments, we can then select them. I'm going to use my arrow keys and I can shift them around. We can, of course, make them equally spaced, and we can do that using the aligned dimension tool as we've done before. If there's an area where I want 2 segments to join together, what I can do is I can select the segment I want to edit. When I do that, the contextual tab will appear with a curtain grid panel. So I'll select Add/Remove Segments, and then I just click, and you'll see that the 2 panels have joined together. To bring it back, I'll just select the segment again, and they're now back to being 2 separate panels. I can run up the curtain wall to remove those sections of the segments. So once we're happy with our segments, the next stage is to adjust the panels themselves. So when we hover over, all we can do is select the segments. So in order to select the panels, we'll hover over a corner, hit the tab key, and continue to hit the tab key until the panel that I want selected becomes selected. Click once on the mouse for it to become selected. Then you'll see in our type selector, it is saying System Panel Glazed. So we can change it over to a solid if we want. And if we change over our visual style to realistic, we'll get a better view of what we're doing. So I came down to the visual controls here and just selected the realistic mode. And then the last stage then is to apply mullions to all of the segments. So in the build panel, it's the last one there, which is mullion. We'll select that. We have 3 different ways we can apply the mullions. We can do grid lines, so every segment that we click on will create a grid line. Or we can use the grid line segment, so just every little small segment section becomes a grid line. Or we can use the all grid lines, so just highlight and it will select every single segment to then become a mullion. Okay, so that's the basics of the curtain wall